Hello everyone, what's going on? I got a little special video to share with y'all, and this is my story of how I got promoted in Stepford County Railway in Roblox. I wanted to share this story because, in my opinion, it's quite an interesting one just because of how quickly everything happened, but I wanted to share all that with you. So, long story short, some of you have seen my video of me getting promoted to a guard in Stepford County Railway. Now, shortly after that video was pronounced, one of the, I guess you can say, the higher ups, Dooge, posted an announcement saying that the applications for Signaler was going to be released. Now, I was pretty shocked by this because not about 2 weeks after I got promoted, the application for the Signaler came out, and I was really shocked by that. So, long story short, so after a little while, whenever I was waiting for the Signaler to come out, I was checking Discord every single day, just making sure that nothing has happened. I followed the channel application forms in the SCR Discord. Just make sure that, like, hey, I didn't see this. And then Dooge shared a code. I mean, I had no idea what it meant. But actually, no, I am going too far ahead. The code is for a later time. So what happened was that on September 11th, 2021, the applications for Stepford County Railway Signaler were released. So that afternoon, I spent a little bit of time on it. I did my best to fill it out, and I filled out to the best of my ability. And I think I got, at the time, I believe I had everything correct. So whenever I submitted it, I just put my hands up. Like, the moment I submitted, my hands were up. I'm like, all right, it's in the system. I can't do anything else about it. So then, little did I know that there were also 1,630 other individuals that were applying for that as well. At the time, that was the largest amount of Signaler applications that has ever came into the SCR Discord, because it's been, I think it was about a year or so before the previous application was sent out. The one that was just sent out a few weeks ago, as of this recording, had like more than 2,000, I believe, according to one of the application readers. I think one of the signal managers. But anyway, that's for another story. So during the process of whenever I filled in the application to the day of the results, I was just living my life like normal. Every day-ish, I was checking, make sure nothing else happened. I was checking every single day for about 2 months. I had no idea when it was going to happen. And then, I think about a week or so later, there was an announcement as sort of like a code saying that the application results would be released at a certain time. Now, obviously, I knew what the code meant, but it was on November 16th, I believe it was. And I remember this day very well. So during the process, I was getting a little anxious or something, just because it's just been so long. All of the applications have been read by this point, and I just didn't know how to process this, because everything was done, everything was getting finalized, and I was just getting, I guess you can say, anxious. So then on the day that happened, I think it was about 7 o'clock at night in the UK. For me, since I was in the United States, it was about 1 o'clock p.m. my time, or 1300 for you non-12-hour clock people. And I was in class, and I saw the notification come up on my phone from one of the signal managers, Billy. And a lot of people were they're very anxious, waiting to see the results. the general was lit up with a lot of hopeful people, and it was very ridiculous. So then they started announcing the results. So there were like, of the 1,600 plus people that applied, only like 359, I believe, passed. And they did it like in a mass number of like 30 or 50 or something like that. It wasn't a lot. But it was just to help with the mass amount of pings. So the names started getting called off. The names were calling off, and after 2 big name chunks, people tagged that passed the applications, after 2 of those, it came clear to me that, like, oh, I didn't pass. Like, yes, I was disappointed. So I turned my phone over to focus back in class. And then, not even half a second later, like the moment I turned off my phone to let it go into sleep mode, I heard it vibrate. I turned it back over and I saw a Discord notification. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? That's when it dawned on me that, like, oh, wait a minute, did I actually pass this? And then whenever I opened up the page, I saw my username, hgoduck2257_YT, as part of that list. In my head, I was freaking out because I made it. My application was good enough to where I passed the application process. In my head, I was freaking out. Externally, I was trying not to freak out, but I was really happy after that. And with just the adrenaline that was rushing through me, I didn't know what else to think about because I made it. And after all the results went through, of the 359 people that passed, there was a massive riot in SCR for all the 1,300 people that didn't pass. Like, it was really bad. And we told people to calm down. Like, even the people that didn't pass were telling people to calm down, but it was really bad. But all that aside, I was promoted to a trainee signaler, and I had access to the signaler lounge. It was really cool to have access to it for the first time, just because all the signalers at the time, they were just so warming and welcoming to the guards that had passed the trainee signaler process. It was just a really cool feeling to actually be a part of the signaler lounge. So then, afterwards, it was time to do some training. Now, so for those of you that don't know, there are 2 types of training. There's the practical training assessment, and then there's the legitimate assessment. So for the practical, you have an unlimited number of times to pass to pass that part of the training. Which that training is just to give you a feel for what it's like to be a signaler in a VIP server. So it's like a regular training session. You spawn wherever the upper management tells you to go. You go there. You learn how it works. There are signalers driving to show for examples and just for helping out. And you do like an assessment, or I guess you can say assessment in quotation marks, because you are tested in 2 zones, and you are shown just basically how it works. And I forgot to mention this, but before you get into the practical assessment, you have access to their Google Drive files of what a signaler does and the signaling setup for zones Alpha through Foxtrot. For the zones, I go by the phonetic alphabet because Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. I'm just in the habit of doing that, I guess. So you learn how to do all that, and you try it with the best of your ability for the practical assessment. And then, after you pass the practical assessment, if the higher ups basically told you that, like, hey, congratulations, you passed, you get to move on to the actual assessment. Now, the assessment is set in a live server. Everything has to pretty much be done perfectly. You have 3 tries to make it, and if you fail, there is like, I guess you could say like a hidden rule. If you show improvement over the 3 courses and if you fail, then you have a 50-50 shot of getting a 4th try. Now, I don't know if this is true or not because I never had experience with that, but that's what other signalers have said in the Discord, that that's a possibility. It just depends if you show improvement. If there's a lot of improvement, then some, not all, but some, I believe some, will provide a 4th chance. Otherwise, you are out and you have to wait until you can apply again whatever the next signal application comes out, whenever that could be. Could be a few months, could be a year or so. You just never know. So that y'all basically know what those 2 trainings are, I'm going to share my story of what it was like. So, practical assessment, I can't remember much of it, but first one, getting a feel for it, I passed. I enjoyed it. I was starting to get a feel for it. I was trying to see what it was all about, and it makes sense. Just getting a feel for it. I did assessment in Zone Charlie, which is the airport central zone, and then I did Zone Alpha, which is all of the Stepford Central Zone, including Whitefield, Willowfield, and Stepford Victoria. So after I passed that, I was then eligible to access the assessment training. So after passing it for the first time, I had a good feeling that I was going to do okay on it. Obviously, I went to my own private server and I got some practice on it, but I was not, I guess you could say, properly informed of what we had to specifically do, which I'll go over that in just a second. But I was in a private server on my own, just practicing, just getting a feel for it, and then scheduled for my first assessment right before Thanksgiving break in November. So my 3 assessments all happened in like a week, because I was trying to get the signaler rule before Thanksgiving, just so that I can just have one less thing to, I guess you can say, worry about whenever the semester was coming to a close due to finals. So the first assessment comes around. I chose Zone Alpha for my first assessment zone. That was a mistake on my part. The reason why I chose that was because I wanted to, I guess you could say, have the others that were testing the ability to pass. And I wanted to challenge, because at the time I thought it'd be really cool to just flex on me passing my very first assessment training on the first try in a very difficult zone. I would have passed, I believe, but the one thing that I failed on was that I failed to return the signals to their proper state within a reasonable amount of time. So whenever you're setting up the signals, according to the handout that is provided to you via Google Drive, every signal that is set to a specific color, it has to be that way. Like, for example, the Stepford Triangle, just to the west of Stepford Central, the 3 signals had to be red and the others had to be yellow. But at the time, whenever I was training, it never dawned on me that I had to change it back to a reasonable amount of time. That's sort of like one of those unmentioned rules of signaling. You have to change it back within a reasonable amount of time. So I did change it back. Eventually, but I kind of forgot just because there was so much going on. So I got counted off for that. And then I was a little disappointed. But it was an easy fix. I figured that I can do it, and I decided to go for an easier zone. And at the time, this was all done in 1.7 before the big 1.8 update came out with the revamped stations and everything. So I did some practice in my VIP server, and I had a few others from the SCR Discord help me out. And I did my practice in Zone Delta because Zone C was very easy to do. I was able to do that really quick. And I wanted to, I guess you could say, have like an easier zone. Because from my knowledge, there were 4 zones we got to choose from. I don't know if it's going to be changed in the future, but at the time, we got to choose from 4 zones: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and not B. Alpha, Charlie, Delta, and Foxtrot. So Zone A is the Stepford zone, Zone C is the airport zone, Zone D is the Layton City zone, and Zone F is the Benton and Waterline zone. So for me, I had like a priority list because Zone C was up at the top. That was the easiest one. I wanted to do that first. If that one was taken, then I'll do Zone D. If that one was taken, I'll do Zone A. If that one was taken, I'll do Zone F, so on and so forth. So I practice in Zone D because you really can't practice in Zone C. I mean, you can, but there's like very small stuff that you can do. So I practiced that, and I also practiced my my signal setup speed because in the assessment you have 2 minutes to set up the entire zone completely. Otherwise, if you don't specify or say that it's set up and the time goes on for 5 minutes, according to the recordings, they will the uppers have, so like the uppers are recording the entire event as it goes along, and they will look back at the 2 minute mark to see if everything was set up based on their, like, if you go 5 minutes without saying that you're set up, they will go back to the 2 minute mark, and anything that's not set up, you will get docked. That's pretty much what would happen. So literally every single zone that I was in, I practiced and every single one I was either under 2 minutes or under 60 seconds. It was somewhere in there. It was a very quick setup, and I was very proud of myself for that. So then Thursday night, the week before vacation, before the week off, I did my second assessment. But I signed up for, I guess you could say I signed up for the wrong time. Because at the time, I thought it said, whoever was doing the assessment, that it was set up as an assessment, like a legitimate assessment. So I was nervous and stuff. I was just super worried. And then all of a sudden I saw a practical assessment. I'm like, oh, I joined the practical session, and then it dawned on me, oh, shoot, I passed this the first time. And if I fail, then I have to retake this one again, which I didn't want to do. So that was a little bit of inconvenience for me. But I did pass, and that was a very, very fortunate thing. I'm very happy that I did pass. And then, like, I guess you could say, like, literally 3 hours after the assessment, I pretty much signed up immediately for the assessment spot, because there was assessment literally 3 hours after the practical. So I was able to get into that one just barely. So I passed the practical, and then I did the assessment. And I do have the recording of the assessment, which I will show. But the only reason why I failed, as far as I know, was that I forgot to change one signal to red. See, whenever I did it, I thought I set it to red. But the Morgantown signal, like for platforms 4 and 6 for Airlink, for platform 6 going onto the main line, that signal was still set to green. I thought I changed it to red, so that's the reason why I failed. I was, I guess you could say, a little hurt whenever I failed, because it dawned on me, like, oh shoot, I have one more shot, and if I don't make it, then I have to wait until the next application comes out, and I didn't want that. So then, after all that, after the second assessment, I decided to just call it quits for a little while, just to take a break. I took at least the Thanksgiving. The entire Thanksgiving week off from SCR, just because I just need to just relax and regain my thoughts before I went ahead and practiced again. Now, as towards the end of the semester happened and through winter break, I didn't get on to SCR that much, and even I did, it'll be like for 5 minutes, because I really couldn't get on-hand practice, and people that would help me out, they weren't available. So I just did VIP servers, just continued just doing the setups and stuff, all that I did. But then the first full week of January came around-ish, and there was an announcement stating that, excuse me, there was an announcement stating that somewhere in the Discord saying that all trainee signalers, if you haven't passed the practical assessment, you have to do it by the 17th of January. I saw that and dawned on me, oh shoot, I'm running out of time to do my assessment. Now, I've already done my practical assessment. I've already done that. It was just the fact that, oh shoot, I literally have a month or so to do my assessment. So the first full week of January, which was like January 3rd through the 7th, I was on the practice server, or my personal VIP server, and I was practicing a lot. I had a couple people from my own Discord help me out, just with small stuff. So like at most there was like 2 or 3 trains, and even that helped a ton. For every train that I was on there, it improved my performance a lot personally. And they were just doing. I was just practicing in Zone D the whole time. I felt like Zone D is a great practice spot for training. That's based off of my experience. So I was just practicing. One driver was doing the Stepford Central to Egmead route, spawning at the Hampton Hargate siding and going through the Layton City area and just running through that back and forth. And then he purchased the Layton City to Layton West route. And then he did that little back and forth because I wanted to have experience for the single track stuff. Because in case if I had to do the assessment in that zone, I wanted to be prepared. Because if there was another signaler in the assessment server, then I was going to choose Zone D if they were on Zone C, and so on and so forth. But I was fortunate enough to get the zone that I was wanting. So then there was an announcement in the signaler lounge stating that there was an assessment at 8 a.m. on that Saturday. I saw it. It was like, I don't know, it was like maybe 2 days till the assessment. I saw that. I was like, actually, no. It was like the night before. It was like 14 hours before the assessment. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh, shoot. I should sign up for this. So then I signed up for it. I didn't see a response. Then, like, maybe like 30 minutes later, I saw it saying that I was in. And with 12 hours to go, I committed the time when I got back from eating dinner to when I went to bed to just practicing. Obviously, I took like a break after 2 hours of signaling. But I was very committed to understanding and having the ability to pass the assessment. So, after practicing, I woke up at 6 in the morning to get just a little bit more time in practicing, and I was very happy. I did that because one of my server members was able to help me within the last second, and with that helped me out a ton. So then the assessment rolls around. I join in. Luckily, I had Zone C. I chose Zone C, and I did my assessment. The entire time, my heart was racing. My hands were shaking. They normally don't shake, but I was nervous about the fact that if I fail this, then I would have to literally restart from the beginning. And at the time, all the recent signaler apps have already gone through, so I would have to wait even longer. So my hands were shaking, but like halfway through, I just started to just thinking of some hype songs to just get my body going, and just bob my head as I'm doing the assessment, because I knew if I freak out, then I would do horribly. So I just helped myself and just kept thinking of good hype songs and just going through the assessment. And then the 12 minutes have gone through, told me to leave. I left and I waited. I waited for like not even 5 minutes. And then I received a ping, a personal ping, well, 2 pings from my assessor and from the SCR trainer. The very first thing I saw was the SCR trainer. I saw that come through and I'm like, wait, what? And then I saw it, and then I saw that I passed. And then I received a personal ping from my assessor in the signaler lounge. And I was so happy to see that. I was so happy And from that point on, I just enjoyed the moment of just the stress just being lifted off of my shoulders and just enjoying the fact that I now am a signaler in Stepford County Railway. Now, I know this story isn't like very special to a lot of you, but I wanted to share this story because it was very interesting on just how it went in my part. And I was able to get it too before the semester started. And I'm very happy that I did, because now I can like literally focus on my studies. And if the application ever comes out for senior signaler, then I'm going to apply for that as well, because I honestly want to give back to the community, and I feel like this is a good step for that goal. Now, obviously, like, I have to help with trainings and all that of X amount of times and Y amount of times for the month, but I really want to do that, and I think it'll be a great experience for what I want to do in my life. So I hope all of you enjoyed my little story. If y'all did enjoy, then please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I normally don't do this, but I wanted to share this personal story with y'all. Other than that, I will see all of y'all next time. Goodbye.